Via Riviera was a narrow cobblestone street hidden deep within the coastal town of Monterosso del Mare. Though the town had its fair share of ghost tales, sailors swallowed by the sea, cursed lovers who walked the cliffs, none were spoken of in hushed tones quite like those of Via Riviera. It was a street of shadows, half a mile long, lined with vine-covered buildings that leaned as if whispering secrets to each other. The street sloped gently toward the sea, but no tourists ever seemed to find it. GPS would glitch, maps would skip it, and locals would deny its existence with nervous laughter. Yet, on occasion, someone would take a wrong turn and find themselves there, lost in the silence that only deep, ancient places knew. And some never left. 1. The apartment. When June Langley inherited a crumbling Italian apartment from a great uncle she'd never heard of, she thought it was a windfall. The photographs showed a rustic, romantic villa on a quaint little street, Via Riviera. She flew from New York with dreams of pasta, painting, and turning the space into a cozy Airbnb retreat. From the start, nothing went right. The taxi driver refused to drop her at the doorstep, instead stopping a full block away. Via Riviera is closed, he said vaguely, refusing to meet her eyes. Is this some superstition thing? She asked, half laughing. No, not superstition, he said softly. History. The door to her apartment creaked open with a groan like a dying animal. Dust swirled in the hallway. The air was heavy, not musty, more like the air in a mausoleum. The apartment had not been touched in decades. Every mirror in the place had been covered in black cloth, and a peculiar smell, like copper and old seawater, lingered in the air. June assumed it was mold, or maybe bad plumbing. But the air, it whispered. 2. The first night. That night, June unpacked her things, drank half a bottle of cheap red wine, and passed out in the living room. At 3:14 a.m., she woke to the sound of glass shattering. Heart racing, she stumbled into the hallway. All the black cloths had been removed from the mirrors. She hadn't touched them. One of the mirrors, the one in the narrow corridor near the bathroom, was cracked. As she approached, she noticed something strange. Her reflection was delayed. A second too slow. Like it wasn't a reflection at all, but something mimicking her. She stood still. So did the image. She blinked. It didn't. Then it smiled. 3. The Wraiths. The following day, she explored the street. It was deserted. No shops. No pedestrians. Just silent homes with shuttered windows and doors that looked centuries old. As she passed one rusted gate, she swore she saw a face staring back at her from a second-floor window, gray-skinned, wide-eyed, with a mouth stretched too far to be human. That night, the whispers grew louder. They came from inside the walls. They circled her bed. Her dream that night was vivid. She wandered the street at twilight, and the buildings leaned closer as if listening. Shadows followed her. The sky wept blood, and voices called her name. Not June, but Unia. When she awoke, her wrists were bleeding. Not deep, but shallow slices, like something had tried to etch something into her skin. And etched it was Viaticus. She searched the word. Latin. It means journey or passage. 4. The diary. She tore apart the apartment until she found a false panel in the floorboards under the bed. Inside, a leather-bound diary, cracked with age. The entries were in Italian, but she managed to translate them. The last resident was a man named Matteo Bartoli, dated 1904. They live in the mirrors. Not reflections, but watchers. They copy you, learn you, until they are you. The moment you acknowledge them, they begin the passage. I called them wraiths, but they are more. They are ancestral memory, regret, rage. The street was once a sacrificial road, where the condemned were paraded toward the sea and drowned under moonlight. The wraiths are their echoes. Echoes that feed. I hear them at night. They call my name as if praying. I broke the mirrors, but it's too late. walk now. They wear my face when I sleep. The last page was smeared in blood, but one phrase was clear. Once they walk, they never stop. 5. The passage. That evening, June saw herself again. In the cracked mirror. The mirror June was no longer mimicking her. It was acting on its own. It smiled, tilted its head, then reached through the glass. June screamed, stumbling backward. A cold hand brushed her face, but nothing came through the surface. She ran from the apartment, heart pounding, and burst into the street. She wasn't alone. Figures walked via Riviera now. Their skin was translucent, as if waterlogged. Their faces were warped versions of people, some with no eyes, others with mouths sewn shut. They watched her, dozens of them, silent, unmoving. She backed away, step by step, until she bumped into herself. Her double, her mirror image. It looked wrong, too stiff, too pale. Its eyes were milky, but it smiled sweetly. I'm tired of being behind the glass, it said in her voice. 6. The ceiling. June locked herself in the apartment and shattered every remaining mirror. But the reflections remained. They shimmered on windows, on silverware, in puddles of water. Her face stared back from places it shouldn't. Sometimes it wasn't her face at all, just a blur with a grin. The whispers grew into voices. Then the voices began to chant. Viaticus, Viaticus, Viaticus. She realized the street itself was a threshold, a liminal place, a gate. The wraiths weren't ghosts, they were passage keepers. The more she saw them, the more they knew her. The more they learned her body, her voice, her thoughts. They were preparing to take her place. One night, she woke up already dressed, standing at the edge of the street, staring out at the sea. Behind her, dozens of silent wraiths stood in rows. A funeral procession in reverse. The waves whispered, "Come." She screamed, bit her lip, and turned to run, only to see her doppelganger smiling at her door. "I've got it from here," it said, and stepped inside. 7. The tourist. Months passed. Via Riviera was added back onto local maps. Just a glitch, they said. The apartment is available now on Airbnb. Tastefully remodeled. 5-star reviews. The host, June Langley, is polite, if a little distant. Her photos never quite capture her face right. A little blurred. A little off. Guests say the mirrors are the cleanest they've ever seen. Too clean. Sometimes, in the early morning, they wake to a knock on the mirror. Just once. Then silence. One review stands out. Beautiful place. Great location. But I swear, I saw myself leave in the middle of the night, and I never came back. Write a short description for this story.